Want to see something scary? Okay, this is getting ridiculous. Okay, we really have to upgrade the dust collection. So this is my dust collection system, and it's beautiful. It's a Delta 5760, and it works really well. It has for years. But since I'm spending more time in the shop, it's going to need some massive upgrades. So, start off, I'm going to build it into this corner. I just need to empty it first. And a little bit more. Okay, now we can start. First off, my shop has two main circuits in this corner. The left wall has a main circuit that runs all the major floor tools. The problem is that the power required to turn on my dust collection system usually will trip the breaker if I try to turn on one of the other tools. So I need to figure out which power it's on, so I don't plug it into that one. Okay, now that we've got the power sorted out, and we've got the placement sorted out, now we just need to clean up this machine. This might be why it's not working very well. The number one thing that destroys your suction on your shop vacs is the hoses. All these ridges that are in it, so first thing to go is all of this. So since I'm going to be building this into the corner, and these plugs are here, I'm not going to remove them, but I don't want them full of dust, so I'm just going to tape them off. Now it's time for some new toys. This is a King cartridge filter, and I don't know what kind it is right now, but I'll put that in the description below. Although it didn't fit my machine, that wasn't going to stop me from making it fit. Especially since it's got this cool little handle here, which turns the flapper inside and knocks all the dust out of the pleats. The diameter of the cartridge was bigger than the diameter of my machine. So I had a few options. I could try to lower it in place, but that would have meant either cutting the bar that the flappers were attached to or cutting slots in my machine. Neither of which I wanted to do, so I opted for weather stripping to bridge the gap. I ended up with 3 layers of this nice thick weather stripping on the machine, and then some more weather stripping on the actual cartridge itself in order to bridge the gap. At which point I placed it on top and crawled inside to see if I could see any sort of gapping of it all. Well, looks good so far. At this point, setting up my Cyclone is where the experiments began. I'd done a bunch of research and I'd read things like putting bags into it and putting cages inside so the bag doesn't come out and putting baffles and all sorts of things. So I decided to try all of it and see what worked. I started out tracing out the bucket, then measuring the lip of the bucket, transferring the measurement, and tracing it out again. This would give me a circle that would actually fit inside the bucket when I cut it out. Well, it almost fits. A little more adjustments will be fine. At this point, I was where I put in my slot for my baffle. Now, I discovered recently that the amount that I actually left was the amount that I should have cut out, which is fine. I just need to cut it out a bit more. That's what experiments are for. But if you're trying this out at home, you can skip that mistake. I made sure my baffle was actually set into the bucket because the lid I have for my Cyclone actually has an angled pipe in it to start this dust spinning before it even gets to the baffle. Now this was the start of my next experiment. I'd read in a magazine that someone had actually put a bag inside their dust collection bin so that it was easier to take everything out. And I thought this was brilliant. And he thought it was brilliant until he turned on the machine and the bag got sucked into the dust collection. Not so brilliant. But what he did was he made a cage. Now he made his out of metal. I didn't have metal, I had plywood. and a lot of glue and nails. So I made this Frankenstein. Again, it's an experiment. We'll see what works. So we now have the bucket, the bag, the cage to hold the bag in place, and the baffle, which is too small. But that's beside the point. It looks pretty. Once I had the lid on the bucket, which I held in place via bungee cords and the handles, it was time to actually put it on the machine. Which is where I discovered that it was actually really close to the height of the machine. And kind of difficult to get in place. I think we'll adjust this later. I think that's a bit tight. Oh well, next issue. Okay, so you can see the machine is really close to the side here and really far away from the side here. That then screws up this, which means that I can't have the machine in this orientation, closer to the plug, so we're going to turn it around and see if I can actually get the dust collection hose to attach here without having it with too many kinks. In order to take the dust from both sections of the shop, I have my tools set up kind of like an L with the table saw in the middle to give me the most room, which means all my floor tools are to the left and all of my tabletop tools are to the right, i.e. 2 different lengths of pipe. Now, because I have cabinets that run along the left wall where all of the floor tools are, I can't lift that pipe too high off the ground, which means every inch counts. Which is why my machine is actually off of its wheels, and I ended up cutting that wide joint so that it would be a little bit shorter. This is what we came up with, and eventually I'm going to do something else because I don't like all those kinks. If you have any ideas, feel free to let me know. But I think what I might do is actually move the machine higher so that the actual blower system is above the lowest pipe. Now it's just a matter of assembling the last few pieces. The bag, the cartridge. Oh yeah, we had to attach the cartridge. Okay, that's next. The way that this is supposed to attach to your machine is those little screws actually pinch into the rim of the machine. Now, since mine's way too big, I added some extensions. Okay, moment of truth. Does it work? Okay, turns on, hasn't blown itself up. I think we're doing good so far. Suction test. Actually pretty good. It works. This is fantastic. Okay, next, the pipes. This was so much easier than the machine. I just took regular 5-inch housing ductwork, piped it together, making sure that there would be a port for every single machine. Attach it to the wall. My best to keep it level, had to move a few things, but all in all, really simple to put together. And I opted for metal piping so I wouldn't have to do any static grounding wires. And there we have it. One arm feeding the right side, one arm feeding the left side, and all the joints taped. Make sure you tape the joints. So, the machine, all piped in. To the right, we have the start of the ports for all of the tabletop tools. Still need to get the blast gates. And then to the left, all of them piped in so that we're ready to go for floor tools. Again, there's still some work to pipe it to the machines and to put blast gates on, but hey, it's getting there. Why is it anytime I do anything in this shop, the other half of the shop explodes? But first, another part of the experiment. Putting the dust collection system in the corner wasn't just about piping it in and having it stable and all that. It was also so that I could enclose it. I have a small shop in the sense that the noise goes everywhere. It's just so overpowering. And since I'm technically in my parents' basement, they really would appreciate some noise reduction, so I don't drive them really crazy. So I started off by building a little closet around my collection system that I'll later completely close in and put some noise cancelling insulation into it. But also at the top, I plan on putting filters like what you use in your furnace to add as another layer of dust reduction. But for now, we'll just get this wall done, put up the door later, because I gotta do something with the other half of that shop. Especially since only half the amount of stuff that came out of here can actually go back in this corner. So, still some stuff to find a place for, hopefully. But, all in all, not bad for a weekend's worth of work. If you want to see what I actually do with these tools, or even more upgrades that I've done since then check out some of these videos. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and if you want to see more up-to-date what's really going on right now in the shop, check out my Instagram feed. See you later!